Welcome to Game of Throws Fishing Channel. I'd just like to introduce myself a bit. I'm Ashwin Ramsamuj. Fishing is my passion. I've been doing it for a very long time. The idea behind this channel is to help educate and teach guys on fishing, starting from blacktails up to sharks or whatever the target species are, right? But for today, as promised, I am going to show you guys how to make shad traces. There are 3 different ways you can make the trace. You can either go drift, you can fish with a top bunk, or you can fish with a ground trace. Okay, so I'm going to start off by showing you the stuff that I will be using to make these traces. So firstly, it's shad wire. This is 39 kg stainless steel. Then I'm using VMC needlepoint hooks, 3/0s. Okay, the reason I use 3/0 needlepoint hooks, firstly, it's sharper than the normal hooks that you get, the shad hooks. So I prefer these hooks. The reason as well I'm using slightly thicker shad wire is because bait presentation. The wire is a bit thicker, which keeps your bait straighter. If you use a very thin one, which is good, but it bends very easily and your bait tends to sit in different angles. So the thicker one, much better, straighter. So using 2/0 or 3/0 barrel swivels. So we are making a double hook shad trace, right? We've got our swivel, we've got our double hook, or 2 needlepoint 3/0s here, VMCs. Okay, I prefer them. Number 1, you're gonna put the steel wire through the eye of the barrel swivel, like so. You're gonna press it down and then twist it. Try and keep your twists close together and not far apart. The closer they are, the stronger the trace. The further apart, the weaker it is. So we will end up with something like this. About 4 or 5 twists is good enough. We're going to use our side cutter, which I forgot to show you guys, but anyway, we're going to cut that off. Okay, we're going to cut this about, say, 4 centimeters. And now we're going to add the hook onto it. Okay, and the same principle here as well. You get it? Twist it. Okay, make sure it's nice and pressed, it's firm. Be careful, you are going to get poked, unfortunately, but that's shad fishing for you, or any fishing. So we're going to twist 2, 3. Remember, your twist needs to be close together, not too far apart. The further apart, the weaker your trace. Close. Okay, you can go as many times as you want, but I think 5 is sufficient. So we end up with this. Okay, we're going to cut this long end out. So this is your single hook trace. If you fish in drift, most people like fishing with a single hook. You've got a single hook trace already. Okay, but I prefer fishing with a double hook. If you fish for shad long enough, you would know that if you got a bait, the shad can bite from here or anywhere on your sardine. Normally you're fishing with whole sardine or fillet sardine, so yeah, I prefer my double hook. So let me start with my double hook, or my second hook for that matter. So same principle here again. Put it through the eye, like so. Press it down and twist. Twist. 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've got your second twist. what we're going to do is cut out the untidy part. Remember, it's all about presentation. The neater your trace is, the better off you are. And that all comes down to when you're cleaning your trace after putting a bait. If you've got untidy bits lying around, which is going to make it more difficult for you to clean. So we're going to want the second hook to start just at the bottom of your first hook. So we're going to cut out a bit extra to make our join. Okay. We then, same thing, put it through the eye. See straight. Yep. There we go. And it slides out. Okay. So we put it through the eye of the hook. We bend it. Okay. Press it in. You've got that. Then you need to start twisting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's your double hook shad trace. We're just going to cut out the untidy part. Okay, once that is out, you've got your double hook shad trace ready to go. Okay, so now that we have our shad trace done, the next bit is to tie a line to your trace. Okay, so many of you guys, I'm not sure what knots you guys use, but this is the knot that I use. It's called the figure 8, which works brilliantly for me. I have no issues with it, and I can show you guys how to make this knot. Currently I'm using Kingfisher, I think it's 55 millimeter, 16.5 kg line, high abrasion, right? So to make the figure 8 knot, once again, your line through the eye of the swivel. So you're going to hold it there, okay, and you're going to go under your finger, I'm not sure if you are, okay, 3 times and over the line like so. 2, 3. You're going to pull it off your finger, take the line from the back, and you're going to put it here. So when you pull, okay, you will see like a 8. There we go. That's your figure 8 knot. This knot I've been using for years and it's never let me down. The tighter you pull, the stronger the knot. Always wet the line so it does not slip. Okay, a nice clean knot, and we can cut the balance off here. So that's a figure 8 knot, nice and neat and clean. Okay, so while I've got this here, just to make a normal drift shad trace, obviously it's about 1/2 meter. I will cut the line. I've got my shad trace. I will do the same here, figure 8 through the eye of the swivel, and figure 8, 1, 2, 3, and through the loop, through the back, and there we go. You pull with the line gently and strong enough, and we cut this piece off. So your shad trace is here. Okay, you've got 1/2 meter line, you've got your second swivel. This swivel, if you fish in drift, goes straight to your main line, to your reel. Okay, and that's basically a drift trace that I fish with. I use the number 3 or 3/0 swivels on these here. Reason being is we're not fishing with any weight. Shad bites generally on the top. It's a top feeder, not a bottom feeder. Oh well, it does feed at the bottom, yes, sorry, but they prefer the top water. So this is a straightforward drift trace which works brilliantly, and I've proved that over the last couple of weekends. So I'm good with this. Light tackle, brilliant fight. So the next shad trace is top bunk fishing. Okay, It's quite simple. Just for demonstration, I'm going to be using more or less the same trace, but I will show you how to hook up your trace. So it all depends on the depth of the water that you're fishing at, right? You can have it up to 1.5 meters. Generally 1 meter is good. So your fishing line or your trace line, from the time you join your shad trace, make it about 1 meter, 1.5 meters going up. Okay. At the other end, at the top, you're gonna use weight. This now is to take your bait down at least 1 meter. Okay, so you're gonna put that through the eye, or the line through the eye of the sinker, a barrel sinker, 1 ounce, half an ounce. You need slight weight. Okay, so once that is down, your shad trace is there, you tie your bait. This is what's going to be taking your bait down. Okay, remember your floater is going to be tied, and it's going to be keeping your bait afloat. Then, well, now we've got this floater here. Okay, remember, you can always very easily put this floater upside down, so make sure it's the right way down, the pointy side always facing your hook line. Okay, so what we do is we put it in, right. If you want, you can tie a swivel to this. Figure 8 once again. And that's your trace. If you want, you can even use a stopper, that's fine. You push in the stopper. So what's going to happen is, once you got your bait, you cast your line in. Okay, you wouldn't be catching the towel, that's for sure. Your bait is going to go down 1 meter, 1.5 meters, and your bung is going to sit top. And you generally will see this bung when you get a bite. This bung goes underwater, and that's when you strike. Okay, but that's a basic top bung trace. Remember, just for demonstration, this I've got it like 1/2 meter, but I think you should make it a bit longer. 1 meter, 1.5 meters, it all depends on the kind of water you're fishing in. But like I said, shad is generally a top water feeder, so 1 meter, 1.5 meters is perfect. Okay, so the next trace that we'll be talking about is ground top bung trace. Okay, once again, you're going to need, and this is running trace, so we're going to be using size 6 barrel swivels. Obviously your shad trace that you've learned how to make, your top bung, whatever color you prefer. I guess with shad it doesn't really matter, as long as your bait is floating, you're in the game. I've got a 5-ounce bucket sinker. I prefer bucket sinkers for shad. Reason being is generally when they bite, in most cases they run front. If your sinker is stuck in the sand, generally the shad hooks itself. So if you've got like a teardrop sinker, chances are you are going to miss it, but this is a bucket sinker, and 4-ounce, 5-ounce, depends on the current, works perfect. Okay, so I always make my sinker trace much shorter than my hook trace, so I will say like 300 is my sinker trace. Once again, I started up with a swivel through the eye, figure of 8, 1, 2, 3 times around the line, through the back, and pull. You eventually see an 8. Yep. So with the line, brilliant. Okay, so we've got that tied. Okay, we tie this to our sinker, same thing, figure 8, 2, 3, and through the back and round. Once again, pull. Perfect. Okay, so that's your sinker sorted out for a running trace. Okay, then we're gonna start with the hook. So if this is about, say, 25-30 centimeters, I'm gonna make this a bit longer, so maybe about just over 1/2 meter. 60 centimeters, which is good. Okay, we're going to start with the shad trace, whichever end, it doesn't really matter. So figure 8 through the eye of the shad trace on the top of the swivel. So 1, 2 and 3. Round, put it through the back, and you will end up with a 8. Okay, pull gently, let it. Okay, sorry, force of habit, everything goes in the mouth. Okay, so yeah, that's that. With about 500 or 50 centimeters or 60 centimeters hook line, you're going to put your line through your bung. Obviously the brighter colors work better for shad. Seems like sometimes they might just be colorblind or something like that, but it works. Okay, so once you got your bung in, tie your other end of the swivel. Once again, figure 8. 1, 2, 3. Through the back, come to the front, you've got your 8. Okay. Alright, so we have our trace made. So just something else that I can add to your trace, and that helps when fishing and avoid your sinker from twisting all the time with your trace, because of undercurrent or whatever it does help to a certain extent, is fishing with a bead. So on your main line that's coming from your rod, you're always going to have your sinker sliding. That's a running trace. Okay, your sinker is the one that's sliding. So once you put in your sinker with your swivel through the main line, you use a bead. So if I cut a piece of line, okay, so I've got a piece of line here. So if this is your main line, right, that's going to be your main line running. Take your swivel, or not a swivel, a bead, any bead. I normally use these glow beads, which works fine for me. Put it through the eye. Okay, so that's it there. And then tie your hook line to the bottom end. Pull. Perfect. And we just clean up the trace. Okay, so let me find my... Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So your sinker is always going to be away from your line. If this is not there, your sinker is always going to be close to your line, which causes this to tangle. And then and what's going to happen then is, instead of your float picking your sardine up and floating all over the place, it's tangled and stuck down. So fishing with this bead makes a big difference. You can use this bead not only for shad fishing, you can use it for normal ground fishing, grunter, stumpy. It works well. Okay, so basically that's your ground trace with a top bung. Obviously sometimes you'll get shad biting, but you'll notice the guys only with the ground trace that are catching. Simple, cut your line, take out your bung, remove your bung. Okay, remove your bung, make it a ground trace. Sometimes fish are fussy, they will eat either on the ground, on the float. Some days they don't eat at all. So yes, once again, you just hit your figure 8 on this here, from the back, push it through, and pull it. That's it. So now you've got a shad ground trace by just removing the bung. Okay, so it all depends. One thing about shad fishing is learn to steal with your eye. You see somebody catching fish all the time, oh, every throw, watch his trace, watch how he's doing things. It's not that you want to copy, but you're learning. At the same time, you stand the same chance as him catching fish. So One thing, like I said, shad fishing, you steer with your eyes. Bait is important. Sometimes they bite Japanese mackerel, sometimes they bite sugar mackerel, sometimes they like the fresh sardine, sometimes they like any sardine, sometimes they like the spoon. So even keeping a spoon handy in your fishing bag always works. So yeah, that's basically your shad traces covered, all 3 shad traces that I've had requests for. We good on that? Okay, so let's make this fun, guys. We have a shad trace challenge. I'm going to time myself making a double hook shad trace. I want to see how long it takes me, and I will put my timing on my video, and let's see how long it takes you guys. So I managed to make this shad trace in 1 minute 39 seconds. Double hook shad trace with a swivel, trace made in 1 minute 39 seconds. How long will it take you? Drop your time, your comments below. Enjoy, have fun. So when you guys are fishing, whether it's shad fishing, shark fishing, drone fishing, any types of fishing, please follow your lines. Respect the next angler. Remember, we all go out there to have fun. The last thing you want to do is be involved in an argument because of fish. Remember, it's a sport. We all go there to have fun, and let's play it safe. But for now, if there's any comments, if I can improve on any of my videos, you guys have suggestions or anything like that, please send it forward to me. I'll try my best. But other than that, any questions, drop me a message. I'll be glad to respond. Like, subscribe, share with your friends and families. But most important, keep it real.